Hello everyone, welcome to Ring Diaries here at Church of Uganda Family TV with me Fiona Mboa, where we talk about anything and everything to do with marriage. Do you have any topic you want to discuss? Please reach out to us, or any individual you want to share something about marriage, please reach out to us on our social media handles and let us be able to discuss these things. As we say, there's no expert in marriage. It's the only place where you start with a certificate and then you figure things out as you go. So whatever information we can get is to help us make and build our marriages to be what God wanted them to be. Today I am privileged to host Sylvia Ngano Tukala. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And because of the topic we're going to discuss, she'll tell us a little more about what she does so that you understand why we are discussing this topic. And today we're going to talk about the effect of conflict on children's education. Now, first of all, Sylvia, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Sylvia has been married for 12 years.
Oh, 16.
What?
Yeah, this year in December I'll be making 16
years.
years.
Wow. That's a lot of years. But also, just tell us a little about what you do so that we explain why you are the authority, at least in speaking about this particular topic.
Hello viewers, I'm called by those names that you had, and by profession I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm a life skill implementer, facilitator. I have been working with children for quite a while, and I'm certain that it gives me the guarantee to talk about them because of the information, the expertise that I've gathered along the way. Looking at children and the way they behave and what they do, and of course also interacting with different parents, there's quite a lot that we've gathered that will help us to push this topic forward, and I believe that we shall all get to benefit from it.
Thank you very much, Sir. Now, what is amazing to our viewers out there, when we were growing up, our parents protected us a lot.
Yeah.
It would be hard for you to tell when your parents were actually having an issue.
Sure.
Either you'd find that I don't know, because some of us, I think, thought our parents never had issues until you grow up and your mother takes you through things and you're like, oh my God, all this was happening. But what has changed today? Before we even get into how it affects the children, what has changed today? How come now we conflict in front of the children, we even use them
Hey,
as a fighting shield?
very much so.
Why have we changed to that? Or have we changed, or maybe it's me who sees it as that?
Well, we can say that there has been a little change here and there. One, it's because of the exposure that today's wives have. First of all, some people, when they go to school, it takes away that kind of respect. Not everyone, get me right, quote me well, that some women, when they're educated, there is that kind of, okay, should I talk about the women emancipation?
Oh, yes.
Yes, the women emancipation. Some women kind of received or perceived it badly. It can be reflected in the way that we behave, in the way we relate. Like, we don't respect, even as the Bible says that a man is the head of a family. Somehow it doesn't reflect in our lives, because we believe that what a man can do, I can do better.
Yeah.
So such things have kind of taken women away from their former position. No, if we are trying to compare ourselves with our former parents, most of our parents were stay-home mothers. They gave us all the time. They were the ones nurturing us. But right now, our children are in hands of total strangers, mostly whom we call the housekeepers or house helps, or sometimes we call them house managers. So there is so much that has been compromised, Fiona.
But does that take away the fact that we should protect our children from these conflicts we are having?
No, it cannot take it away. As a parent, you have to protect your children. But even now, we should also be informed that most of the parents work away from home. You can have a mother working away from home for a week, and they only get to see their children over the weekend. So in that, the heat-up topics that come between a mother and father, and everyone wants to show that I'm the one who is right. Sometimes I want to do that before the children, so that the children can actually get to understand what the other person is going through. They think that the pain has to be exposed, so the child will get to sideline or side
They
back.
pick a side and know I am on
Exactly.
mommy's side.
So I think we are not using wisdom in a way to help raise our children. We are not using wisdom.
And we are exposing these children. Okay, and for some of our viewers, you may think, what is wrong with actually children being actually part of the conflict? They are part of the house.
Fiona, we should also be aware that there is good conflict. Any person in life, there is a certain conflict that comes to push you up, but there's also destructive conflict in family. A conflict which involves fighting before, in the presence of children. A conflict which involves using harsh words before the children. A conflict which involves saying like words like I'll kill, I will. There is a way it works on a child's mind differently. For you who is saying it, you're not even meaning the words of
Even
I'm
saying
going to
it
kill, because
in
you're
the heated,
angry.
yes,
You're just angry. But the way you say them, this little person who is still developing, they don't know how to use that information, or to sieve it and know that maybe dad is joking, maybe mom is joking. They'll take it seriously, and before you know it, they are hurt inside, and that most of the times they don't even know how to express what is on their inside. So us as teachers, we get to experience those at that tantrums later in school, in the absence of the parents. They might not even know the effect that what they're doing at home is causing to their little ones.
And that's the need for this topic for us as parents to actually understand. What's amazing is lately you come to interact with a child, and there are those moments when the child comes at school and they're angry. When you sit down to understand the child is when you actually realize something happened at home that has led to this. So what are those effects that our conflicts as parents have on the children's education, especially?
On the children's education. Okay, let us first look at how, I'm just requesting that you look at how a conflict can first affect a child internally. You see that they're going to become withdrawn.
So that is a child who has been in a place that has conflict.
Yes, they'll be withdrawn from being with other children. You're going to see it in their behavior. The way they behave, they are mostly defensive. And then you're going to see aggression. They're mostly aggressive. Yes, and then they have a lot of, how can I call it? They have tantrums, throwing tantrums. How can I call that? They are easily angered, because they have inner pain. Yes, they have inner pain that they cannot even explain themselves. And then the way they behave, they'll try to behave so that the teacher will get to understand that I'm not well. Meanwhile, they don't even know what to tell you about their not being well, because
but they're communicating that I'm not well.
Exactly. And then others will be attention seekers. They'll just be crying in the middle of nowhere. They're crying. They want you to maybe carry them. Maybe it depends. For the adolescents, it's again worse, because they'll just close you out. You don't know how to help them. They'll just close you out because in their hearts they're like, you don't know what I'm going through.
And
you don't know what I'm dealing with. They will not tell you openly, but their actions will
you won't
speak.
understand what I'm going through.
So how are you going to teach a child who is in such a state?
So they are withdrawn, some throw tantrums, some get easily angered. Do they get to participate very well in class? Mostly not, because like we've said that they're withdrawn, they fail to believe in themselves, because I think what is at home tends to reflect more in them. They think that I'm coming from a failing family. They are thinking about, actually some of them will be sleeping because they spent the night awake thinking. They'll be there thinking of what's happening, what is going to befall me, what is going to happen to my family. Much as we don't realize that they're actually thinking that, but they do. We have had kids sleep in class, and then when you try to wake them up, you're like, what is it? Why are you sleeping? Miss Rona, I did not sleep the whole night. Mom and dad were calling each other names. Mom and dad were like this, and you don't know how to, because you don't want again to start discussing family issues with a child. So you're like, okay, we shall find a way of talking to mom and dad. And guess what? Some parents don't want to know about it. They'll become defensive. No, it's the school affecting my child. You teachers are not doing enough. So like, okay, how are we going to help
the child if even the parents don't want to accept, because of shame, they don't want to accept that this child is actually getting all these negative effects from the fight that they have at home.
Okay. For maybe our viewers there to understand it, have you ever actually dealt with a child who has gone through, like who has come maybe from a fight, maybe from any of those conflicts at home? Have you ever had to encounter one at school?
Yeah,
How were they? How did they act? How?
there was one that we actually, she came and just discussed, she came and told us, so it was within a classroom, okay, discussion. We were sharing about the roles of different parents. So we kept saying, you know, a mother is good in such a way and a father is good in such a way. And then when we started discussing the roles of a father, this girl just shouted, no, men are bad, fathers are terrible, except my stepdad who is at home. You get what I mean? So I called this girl out and said, why do you think that fathers
Men
are
are
terrible?
terrible.
Because of my dad. My mom told me my dad is this and that and that and that. So all men are terrible apart from my stepdad, who my mother got for me. It's even in the way they learn, Fiona, this kid is always okay. She will have all those words to tell you, but when it comes again to intellectual, you know, building her intellectually, building her thinking capacity, making her sit in class to do, she's still all over the place. She is not. She says those words, but at the back of her mind, I'm sure in that quiet moment, she doesn't think that maybe all this is right. So she's in a confused state. Her thoughts are all over the place. Even in class, you see that their performance is declining. Her behavior with friends is aggressive. They like fighting to defend themselves because that is what they've been exposed to at home. Yes. And then they also get the idea of telling lies. Because mommy will lie about dad, and when she comes to encounter dad also will also do something different. So this girl in the middle, let me even switch a bit. We have a scenario of someone I know that they have a case in court. You know, they're going through a divorce process. So the woman wants the kids to be with her. And the man would also want the kids to remain with him. So what the mother has done is to brainwash the children too much to the extent of making them feel like their father is maybe an homosexual. He might read, you know, he might do different things to you. He's not a straight person. This is true, Fiona. Now imagine the scenario that these boys are going through. They look at their dad, they're like, is that real straight? Is mom telling the truth? But then they go to the extent of saying we are inviting these children to court to testify against their father.
But the trauma that must come with that.
Do these people, you know, the issue is the mother and father this time are not thinking about the children. They're thinking about themselves to win the case.
What I'm trying to understand is, when do we stop being parents? Because parents are supposed to be looking out for their children,
I
right?
think sometimes we just become so selfish and we forget that the Bible says that as parents we are stewards. We are supposed to nurture these children the way that they should go. But we forget that. We forget that God gave us these little gifts as an inheritance. People that are supposed to be carrying your name forward. So whatever
name are they
you are,
carrying?
what are they going to carry forward? You're already scattering their lives. Before you know it, they're not respectful to the mother and they're not going to be respectful to the dad. So which voice are they going to be hearing? In school, they become rebellious to teachers. Because if a child cannot listen to their mother, they cannot listen to their dad. When a school comes in to try and intervene, some parents will come to school and begin to attack it. You get what I mean? If it's the dad who came and got a vacancy, a place for the child, admission,
The mother would
the
actually want to
mother will
change.
want to change because she knows that the dad has more influence in the school. It affects the child's learning. So just imagine a child who goes to court to testify against the dad, whom is not even sure whether what he's saying is true, but because of the so many lies that the mother has fed them with.
I think we need to also really think about the future of these children.
I don't know if you're ever
Like
thinking
if
about
you
it.
grow up with a child and they can't trust their parents, whom are they actually going to trust?
At all.
So we've realized this should actually, by parents, children tell us things at school.
So much.
You'd be shocked how much teachers know
About
about
you.
you. That'd be nice when you go to visit. It is shocking. Every morning you're even having just circle time, you're talking to children, and they tell you, hey, yesterday mommy said this.
They actually notice. They notice when one is lying. Like I have a scenario of another parent. Okay, I'll say that people that I talk to, of course, to guide and counsel some once in a while. So it's like, okay, now my wife turned my daughter against me, and now this girl is in high school. But the girl, 100% believes the father. Much as the mother is trying to win over,
But for
the
her,
girl
she's-
100% loves and trusts the dad because she knows that much as they are not living together, but he invests time in her. He checks on her. So no matter what the mother does or says, she'll
Sure.
be quiet, but at the back of her mind, she knows that she loves the dad. Now the mother cooks up the story and she's like, I'm not going to be around, so someone should pick you from school. And the girl is so not happy. She calls the father. Dad, I'm sorry, you cannot be the one picking me because, mom, you get what I mean. You put them in that conflict, but they're wise. They also get to know who is right and who is, wrong eventually. But the problem is how they might never get to that age of great thinking because you're already destroying their development as children. You're already destroying it.
So how do we safeguard our children from this?
How do you
How do we
safeguard them?
safeguard them from our conflicts? Because some people will tell you, we're in a small space. Where are we going to fight from? If we can't fight when the children are watching? Or is it logical? I'm angry and then let me first keep it, let me first keep it. We have to go away from the children. How do we actually safeguard these children from the conflict?
Fiona, I'll tell you something that for me as a person, when I'm annoyed, okay, when something's too much, I actually run out of words.
The talkative soul.
Exactly. The talkative runner that runs when something's too much. I run out of words. I'll be so quiet that you'll also see. Quiet and not angry on the face, but I'm overwhelmed. So one thing I believe is that sometimes it's not good to act out of anger. It is good
That's
that
true.
it's good that we take our time, especially when you notice that there are little people that you're going to hurt. For us, we shall say words and we shall forget them. But the one that you're saying the words in the presence of, they will never be able to forget. Imagine a scenario where a father says, I will kill you because he's angry. Imagine a scenario where, I have a scenario I want to share with you, Fiona. You know, when people are married, there is a time that maybe they want to be together. And maybe there is a conflict that is unresolved. So there was this lady and this man, neighborhood issues.
Yes.
That discussion heat up, the voices went and they blew the roof off. Before we knew it, the woman was outside with her wrestle, removing everything. I was like, you will never see this in the presence
Imagine
of
the
children. You will
children.
never see this. Getting off the wrestle and you're showing everything. This you will. So imagine what do you
the
think?
trauma the children.
But now, was that the best way to resolve that problem?
So that is what brings, like, how do we because
Feel it is
How
personal.
do we
You
control
have to.
ourselves?
How do you value your child and where do you see them go? Even if you're separating from your wife, does it mean, or from your husband, does it mean that you're separating from your children as well? No. We should not be selfish and self-centered to think that life is only about us. But we have people that we have to groom, whether we are together or separated. People are sharing responsibilities in raising children. And in a good way, by the way, they agreed that we have failed to agree amicably.
individuals.
Exactly. Even the children, until today, they're still wondering why my dad, who is so nice, and my mom, who is so nice, are not living together. Because of the way they separated, the children were not able to realize any issue. Why? They were trying to protect their children and they did not try to speak down on the other spouse because of their selfish, ambitions. So we need to gauge where are we wanting to see our children, because these little fights that we call little, they're going to cause your little son who is a teenager to stop listening to the father. The child will not be guided. And once they're aggressive, even at school, it will be noticed.
Yes,
How are the teachers going to help? Before you know it, your child is jumping off the walls. Why? Because of the pain at home. When you start to open your mouth as a parent to talk, he will tell you have no moral rights to talk to me. You have failed as my dad, they will tell you. There is one teenager that I know who gave birth to a child when the father and mother separated. So a time comes when a mother tries to call that boy back to talk to him of why are you two wasted? Why? And the boy just said, if only you had not left me and abandoned me, do you think I would be like this? Imagine your child in
Imagine the
future
pain.
to tell you that. That's because we become selfish. We are thinking about us now. At least for us, we are living in our future. But then what about these ones who are still developing? They are still developing trust. They are still developing in morals and behavior, character. They are supposed to depict how you behave and also duplicate that and be something that you want to see them become. But if at home it's only fights, it's only quarrels, calling each other F words, and those are the words that we hear kids calling each other in class.
Because
Because
they're
they
no
pick
more,
them-
they're used to them.
Yes, they pick them from home. Some parents will use the F words carelessly at home, and it's a daily meal. So a child, you try to call them down to talk to them, and they all the time that is what they're telling their other friends. And then when you try to tell them, because they have inner pain, they'll swell and they feel like bursting. You try to counsel them, a parent will come for you. What did you tell my child?
And all
What
of a
did
sudden,
you
the
tell
teacher
my
is the
child?
one to
You are the
blame.
bad one. And yet you're trying to help a child to be able to settle in and learn.
So as parents, we are failing our children.
Fiona, we are failing too much. You need to sacrifice. You see, the way you were talking about our parents' sacrifice that we could barely understand, that maybe they held a fight or they have a disagreement. Maybe there would just be some kind of silence in the home. But since you're not seeing anyone fighting, how is it affecting you? You're getting everything that you need. You're getting the food, you have the shelter on your head. But it's not the same nowadays. There is a scenario that we had at school where a parent who was trying to fight, custody, they were trying to fight for custody. And then the woman came and stole the child from the school administration without the school even noticing. You come and this guy want to look at my child, we are not living together. Then they allow you to come and see the child. And in that process, there is a way she sneaked out and went before the school. The lady had run off with a kid. And then before the school was involved into the whole issue of, me, they don't allow me to see my child. How do you expect me? I have to have my child. But now, was it prudent for her to come and do that from school? The next day the girl comes to school, everyone is looking at her with a different eye. Of what's wrong with your family? Are you people crazy?
The child
So
becomes
even the esteem is destroyed. The esteem of a child is destroyed in such scenarios.
So as parents, the Bible says when the what?
When the nkimanyi oba mu Luganda nti empologoma bwengo bwezirwana the grass suffers, is that what you said?
I think I remember. But even that is true. The two elephants are fighting, the grass is suffering. But the problem is this grass that is suffering
It is the
may never
future.
actually get her.
And yet it's our generation to come.
Yes. So how are we saving the generation that is yet to come? Parents, if we are still fighting like that. And for most of us, we're going to take a short break, but as we take this break, I want us to think as parents, what are things we have been doing that actually have put down our esteem? What things have we been saying around the children? What have you been telling children about their father, their mother, that could even spoil the relationship they have with them? And also, is that what you want to see your children become in future? We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with more ways we can help these children, especially if they've been exposed to the conflicts that we are having in our homes. Don't go away. I'm Fiona Mboa, here at Church of Uganda Family TV with Ring Diary.